have attributes for interpersonal skills. So let's take a look at the list again on the slide. Verbal communication, non-verbal communication, listening, questioning, manners, social awareness, problem solving, self-management, assertiveness, ownership and accountability. So we were talking about questioning, how questioning should be respectful. The next one is manners and social awareness. Manners is basically your etiquette that you need to follow. Say for example, if I am traveling in a bus or a train and there are separate seats for ladies, separate seats for gents, right? I am sitting in the gent seat, but I see an old lady who's standing, who doesn't have a place to sit. What should I do? I should obviously ask her to sit at my seat. Even though it's reserved for men, I would still offer her the seat because she's old, she can't stand. For that matter, any woman if I see, I usually stand and say please sit, because that's basic mannerism. Your basic mannerism defines your personality because it shows how kind-hearted you are, do you care for people, or are you usually rude to people. So that is mannerism. Now mannerism also means your general etiquette, not only when you're speaking to people face to face, but also over the phone or on a video conference. It also means your mannerism in internet. I'll give you an example. There is this company called Twitter, right? Like Facebook, Twitter is also a microblogging site where you can write some status for 160 characters only. It includes space also as a character. So there was this person who applied for a job in Twitter in California. So he cleared all the rounds. After the final round, he was not given the offer letter. He was really good with his work, but when they investigated, they asked him, do you have a Twitter account? He said, yes, I do keep posting on my Twitter account as well as Facebook account. When they checked his tweets, they found that he is usually rude to people from certain religion or certain race. Okay, so there is a bit of racism that was involved in whatever he was tweeting. Now the question is, that is his personal opinion, how will it impact the organization? Now tomorrow when the same company which built Twitter gives him a job, they can go and scan his entire history of tweets, right? So it's not going to show as a very good impression about himself. So the mannerism is equally important on the internet, which is called netiquette. Etiquette which is used in net. So your general mannerism when you're speaking to someone face to face, in a group, in a one-on-one scenario, inside your office, outside your office, or inside your college or outside your college, your mannerism should be something which makes you a very respectable person. All right. The next one is social awareness. How socially aware are you in whichever place you are living? Okay. I'll give you an example which happened with me. So when I went to US for the first time from my work, so we were a group of 7 to 8 people, and you know how Indian cooking is, right? We put a lot of oil, a lot of spices. So when we are cooking, it emits a lot of smoke, correct? So in US, in every household or every hotel has a smoke detector machine. So the moment the smoke came out, the smoke detector machine, it immediately caught the signal. Now the way the whole system is built in US is, in a hotel room, if your smoke detector detects any kind of smoke, that means there is a danger of fire. It immediately rings an alarm in the reception of the hotel. After 15 seconds, it rings in the local fire station. So what happens is, in case if the smoke detector detects a smoke, the reception will call the room asking if everything is fine. If the person is not answering the call, they would know that okay, the call is not getting answered. After 15 seconds, the alarm will automatically ring at the local fire brigade station. The fire brigade will have the entire map on the screen, what is the location, what is the room number, they will have all the data, everything is automated. So there were a couple of guys who traveled with me, they were in the next room, and I usually never used to cook much. So they were cooking Indian food and suddenly it started emitting smoke. After 5 minutes, there was somebody knocking on the door. When I opened the door, there was a fire brigade person with all the hoses and all that. He asked me, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes, I'm fine, but you need to check the other room." They actually thought there was a fire accident in the room. So if you're not socially aware, and when these guys opened the door, first they got scared, then they started laughing that I was just cooking, why the fire brigade people came. See how advanced United States is, they immediately send the fire brigade. It doesn't happen in India. But instead of making fun of India, they should be socially aware of the systems there. For example, you cannot buy a chewing gum in Singapore, it's banned. You cannot spit on the road, you cannot throw garbage on the road. But in India, we take the freedom and liberty to do everything and then we say our country is dirty. But when we go to a Western country, we say, wow, it's so beautiful. And we don't litter, but when we come back, we start doing it again. So if you are socially aware of your responsibilities in terms of your civic senses, it adds on to your personality. You need to be socially aware about certain things, about certain cultures, right? If you travel to certain part of the world, say for example, if you go to Japan, in Japan, people don't eat food on a table and chair. If they invite you to somebody's house, they have a very short table. For example, if you go to typical household in India, they will not serve you lunch or dinner. For example, if I invite you for lunch and dinner, in big cities, everybody eats on dining table, which I don't like. You are supposed to sit on the floor and eat with your hand. Imagine you have a German friend who has come down from Europe and you have cooked amazing Andhra food, Andhra meals, and he is asking for a spoon and fork. Obviously, you will not feel good about it. You will tell him that, why don't you try? Just try, you will be comfortable. Okay? Likewise, when we go to Western countries, we want to eat with our hand, but they say, please try spoon and fork, because we are not supposed to eat with our hand in Western countries, except certain Middle East countries, right? So if you are socially aware, if you know what is the culture that is followed, what are the rules that is followed, people appreciate it, okay? So that adds on to your interpersonal skills. If you go to US on work, some of you may get a job in some big companies and you may go to US for say 2 months or 3 months. If somebody invites you to somebody's house, in India we just go like that, we just carry 4 apples or sweet box. But in US it's mandatory that you carry something. You can carry some desserts, you can carry some cake, a lot of people carry wine bottle or champagne bottle. You cannot go empty handed to somebody's house. That's not right. So if you are socially aware, say your team leader in US who's an American has invited you for lunch, it's good that you go with a bottle of wine or you go with a basket of cake or cookies or something, and that will create a very good impression. And what will happen? That person will start interacting with you more because they will respect you that yes, you are socially aware and you respect our culture. Clear? Next, the 7th point on the slide is problem solving. Now, every team, every person, every individual will definitely face problems. When we are working on a project, we will face problems. I am working on something, suddenly the system stops. So when we started the training in the afternoon, suddenly my laptop stopped working. If I call my boss and say my laptop is not working, what will he say? He will ask, what am I supposed to do? I am doing this training from Mana TV studio. If I tell the production manager that, sir, my laptop has stopped working, he will say, okay, so what do you want to do? The question is, what do you want to do? Problem solving includes understanding the problem and finding a solution. When it comes to solution, give options. In an organization, juniors will always walk up to seniors with problems, okay? But remember that 10%, 70%, 20%, 10% of people will never talk about the problem. If the system has crashed, they will not tell anyone. They will say, I could not do the work. Manager comes and asks why the work is not done. They will say, my system was not working. Then where is your responsibility? Why didn't you tell us? No answer. They are 10%. 70% of the people will go and say, sir, my system is not working, please find a solution, I am not able to work. 20% of those people will go to the supervisor themselves and say, yes, my system is not working, I am not able to work, let me replace the CPU, let me use a spare screen which is lying unused, the mouse is not working, somebody has not come, so I have taken that mouse. So basically you go with the problem and you also give us solution options and let the manager decide which solution is the best solution. What differentiates an average person to an excellent person is, an average person will talk about the problem, an excellent person will always talk about the solution for the problem. He may have more than one solution. As a manager, as a senior, let them decide which solution is the best. But are you even thinking about the solution? You will start thinking about the solution when you start taking responsibility, when you start taking ownership. We'll talk about that aspect soon. The 8th component on the slide is self-management. Now self-management is basically number 1, time management, number 2, stress management. How do you manage yourself? Self-management also includes your appearance. How do you appear when you talk to people? How do you dress up? You will not believe 75% of people in jobs, they get rejected because they don't dress appropriately. 50% of people do not create a right impression in office, in an organization, because they do not dress appropriately. 20% of people only manage to create a very strong impression because they dress in one particular way, and it's very, very impressive. So your dressing sense, your personal hygiene, your time management skills, your self-management in terms of your own stress management, your confidence management, all this put together is nothing but a self-management. So how well do you manage yourself? That is the question. Everybody has everybody has the right to feel disappointed. Everybody, obviously, they come across certain stages in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year, or a life where they feel very low in confidence. How do you manage that is the question. All right. The 9th one is assertiveness. On Saturday, I was speaking about assertiveness a little bit. Assertiveness basically means not being aggressive, not being submissive. So I can be submissive, aggressive, or assertive. So what is the difference? Submissive means whatever the other person says, I accept and I do it. I don't even question. Go get me water, the person will go get water. Go get me food, it's not my job, but he asked me to do it, so I have to do it. That's a submissive approach. Aggressive approach is when you start fighting. Why should I get water? You are capable of doing that, why don't you do it yourself? Assertive is when you explain to the person that you don't want to do it, but the other person does not disrespect you. So you say, I'm sorry, this is not my job, I think you need to find someone else. Once or twice I help you, it's fine, but this is definitely not my job. And you should start doing your work yourself. That means I am saying no to someone without offending that person. That is an assertive behavior. And the last one is ownership and accountability. What do I mean by accountability? Am I accountable for what I am doing, or am I responsible for what I am doing, or everything related to it? Typical scenario that we see on Indian roads. Roads department comes and they put a new road. After one day, telephone department comes and they dig the road because they need to lay the cables. Again they dig the new road, they again lay it. After 2 weeks, the water department comes, the sewage department comes, they dig the road. Again, the same cycle goes on and on. Now what happens is, say the water department comes, digs the road, but they don't fill it properly. Somebody is riding the bike and the person falls and admitted in hospital, hands broken. Next day he is supposed to fly to US for PhD. His entire future, entire career gone down the drain. Because of whose mistake? Water department supervisor, whoever is supposed to supervise the work. If you go and ask, he will say it's not my responsibility. Water department responsibility is to lay the pipe. We have done that. To put the road back again, you need to speak to roads department. You go to roads department, they say they never told us that they are digging the road. What happens is a problem gets bounced around like a football between all these 4 departments, and people suffer. It happens because they are not accountable for it. I am not responsible for it. I am supposed to train the students. How you do in your interview, not my responsibility. Can I say that? Definitely not. That's why whenever there were campus recruitment drives happening, we were doing more sessions. We sent trainers. We did online training, but now we will do classroom training to help you further. When you own that work, that this is my work, I need to complete it. If something is missing, I need to find a solution for it. When you display those aspects, you build respect and you build interpersonal skills. Okay? So, I spoke about the 10 must-have attributes. In the next session, I will talk about emotional intelligence. I will talk about reaction and the response approach. Sometimes when somebody says something, we either react or respond. What are we supposed to do? What are the advantages and disadvantages of it? When you build a very strong interpersonal skills, how does it help you become a good leader? These are the aspects I will talk about next session. So, the session comes to an end today. Whatever question you have, please mention on the comment section of the YouTube link that gets stored. You can go back, search for Mana TV AP unit, you will find a lot of videos and you can select whichever you want to see. For this particular session also you will see a link. Whatever question you have, please post on the comment box and I would surely look at it and answer your questions. Alright, have a great evening. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you.